Hello and welcome back to the show. Now, you know what it's like. Once you get to a certain age, you've got so many commitments and it can feel a bit of a struggle, taking importance over your health, your fitness. You can procrastinate, make excuses, but it's never about a lack of discipline. It comes down to sort of feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, and not really understanding the best way to support your body at this time of life. Well, today, we're going to be getting into a discussion about, finding doable movement and knowing that it's never too late to be strong, capable, and feel at home in your body. However, movement is just one part of the puzzle. And today, to help me put the pieces of this puzzle together, I'm joined by an exceptional fitness professional. She has been the creator of some of the world's best-selling workout DVDs like Crunch, Fat Burning Pilates, the Yogini Workout. She's also starred in Fit TV's All-Star Workouts, and she is the author of 4 wellness books. But her current passion today is her online movement studio called Let's Move. So without further ado, welcome the incredible Ellen Barrett. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Hi, thanks. It's so nice to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. And I know we've got lots to talk about because like me, we've been in the fitness industry for a long time. So I'm really keen to find out your story, what got you excited about fitness, how you got to this position you're in now where you help so many people and why movement is so important to you. But also obviously you feel that exercise is the original and the best biohack. So you want to find out what this biohack that not a lot of people are talking about at the moment, but also about movement, which is where you come into your strength, if you like. It's really important for you, I know. And the link it has to things like your health and your mental health and extending that quality of life. So before we get into that, and hopefully later on, you're also going to share some of your strategies that people can come away with and think, oh, I can give that a go. And maybe they'll even join your studio. But to begin with, let's talk about Ellen for a minute. What got you motivated to get involved in the health and fitness industry?
A lot of fit pros get into the industry because they're athletes. And, your podcast is called Unleash Your Inner Athlete. So I think there is this synergy between sports and fitness, especially in the youth stage of life. So if you get into the habit of moving your body early, it feels weird when you're not moving your body. So I just, like a lot of people, got into it through sports. I was in gyms. I was a tennis player, very competitive tennis player. There was an aerobic room in this gym this tennis club that I took lessons at and hit at. And I was super inspired by that room because it seemed very high vibe and happy. So this was in the 80s. And so I just really took a liking to it. I was exposed to it as a young person, like 11, 12. I saw it. Then I started taking those classes and it really became something that I preferred over the sports. It's very it's like built into me to be moving my body. And I also have always looked at the fitness side of things as a pleasure, like it was a privilege to be able to do that. And I know that's not how a lot of people view fitness. So that's another, I think, angle that I have that's definitely been something I've always worked towards when I work with clients is to get them to see that it's actually a pleasure. You're lucky to have the opportunity. Let's move.
Yeah. It is. And that's quite a good way of looking at it, isn't it? It's just thinking how privileged you are and that it's a blessing to be one of those people, particularly later in life, that you can actually still get up and move because many people are struggling as they get older.
Right,
so being able to take those steps and, it's something that always baffles me how people don't sort of prioritize their health and wellness and their fitness enough, particularly later in life. But what is it about sort of movement in particular? Because obviously we know as we're getting older, everything gets stiffened up and all of this sort of stuff and the inflammation and the problems that occur with all of this. But what is it you found through working with people and being in the industry so long that for you is you're particularly passionate about movement and what it can do for someone?
There's instant benefits. You instantly have a mood boost. You instantly have more energy. You instantly have, stand taller sometimes, or you detox. I mean, movement is sweating, it's breathing. Those are 2 main ways we detox. So there's such instant results. Okay. So that's the first thing. There's instant benefits right away. Then there's long-term results, stronger bones, stronger muscles, more capability, higher function. So there's short-term and long-term benefits, there are very few negative side effects. In fact, the only negative side effect is if you're doing it wrong, if you're not connected to your body intuitively while you're moving, then you could get injured or you could overdo it. And so I just really think, like, if you really think about it, we go on, you turn on the TV. In America, you turn on the TV and there's pharmaceutical advertisements here.
Yeah.
And I just think, can't you just go for a walk? Why don't we just all prescribe a walk? Why don't we all just prescribe a little exercise? And that issue will be done if you just do it on a regular basis. So I'm just very passionate about it because I feel like it's the minimalist way. It's the lowest budget way. Even if you spend a ton of money on personal trainers and yoga retreats and yoga clothes and online classes, it's still cheaper than the other route to go in. There's just very little downside. So that's my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, what do you feel is the reason people are just a bit relaxed? It's always baffled me, and I've had this conversation so many. What is it that stops people? Because, like you say, it's so simple. Just to take those first initial steps, it's low cost. It just takes a bit of, getting off your backside and moving outside of the house to go do it. You can even do it in the house if you wanted to.
Yep.
What is it, do you feel, that just holds people back? Is it, I just wonder what the mindset is behind that.
Well, I have a lot of theories. I don't know if they're 100% true, but I have theories. The first theory is that people were conditioned in their early days that movement hurt, and we avoid pain. Movement is like going to the dentist, right? So that is a mindset that can be switched, but you have to experience the opposite to really change that mindset. And that's where mindful movement comes into play, because it doesn't hurt. It actually really feels good. It really invigorates. So that's the first thing. I think they label movement and exercise as something that hurts, something that causes pain, something they want to avoid at all costs. Another thing is they get labeled early on. The idea of themselves is, I'm not athletic. I'm not a fitness person. I have knock knees. I, trip over my own feet. They feel like it's not for them. They personally aren't in that realm of movement or whatever. So I have to say that the biggest thing is anyone can do everything, anything. Like you have a broken leg and you can do some stretches. You could have some nice deep breathing. You could, lift your upper body strength. I have a workout called seated sculpt, and I can't tell you how many people have emailed or direct messaged me and say, I just had a knee replacement and this is perfect. Or, I have bursitis on my feet and this is perfect. Or I have plantar fasciitis and this is my day. When I can't go for my run, I can do this. So yeah, there's always options no matter what your body is. So that's my big message, is like, movement is for everybody. It truly is.
And it doesn't have to, I think, like you said, the thing, people think you've got to do some big performance when it comes to it. And it can be so simple. And like you say, and just realizing that, the downside of all of that is that the pain it's going to cause you later in life if you don't start taking just simple steps. And like I say, it doesn't have to be a big workout if that's not for you, because not everybody loves doing big workouts. But if you love getting outside and being in nature, it's something as simple as that. So just get yourself moving, get the blood flowing, get the oxygen, get the fresh air, you'll feel so much better. But I often wonder as well, because you're a former athlete as well, that must have been quite important for you in terms of helping your body transition from that career into sort of regular life, if for want of a better word. And because being an athlete comes with its own set of problems and its own sort of injuries and chronic pains and stuff that you have to manage as you're getting older with the aging process. So movement from that point of view is also very important.
Totally. And I remember when I was transitioning, first of all, I was teaching aerobics when I was in college and playing tennis. So the lines were blurred because I started teaching aerobic classes when I was 18, and, I was still competing in tennis until I was, 21, 22. And so I had that overlap. And so when tennis fell away, it was my career, it was my vocation. I was making money doing it. So I still kind of had that, that physical job, right? Because I did look at college tennis and my tennis career in a way as work. because it got to the point where there was a little pressure and it was paying for things. So that was really important, was that I kept that physical job. It felt like I was still an athlete on a lot of levels, but I transitioned I had so many epiphanies, Julia, when I found Pilates and yoga. And that was a real like aha moments, because I didn't have to jump up and down. I didn't have to break a sweat. I mean, all those things are lovely and amazing, and I still do those things. But there was this yin energy, and there was this peaceful energy, and there was about bringing balance to the body and not just working the body, because a workout is actually not the perfect term for what we do, because it's really about bringing the body into balance and invigoration and not irritating it. So it's not about working the body. It's about training the body and conditioning the body. I feel like I had such a learning curve all through my 20s. I was really eyes wide open, taking it all in, taking all the modalities in. I remember taking a Feldenkrais class and being like, this is crazy. I remember taking Tai Chi, and there was this very amazingly beautiful older woman that taught Qigong in one of the clubs that I was teaching at in Los Angeles. And I wanted what she had, and she was probably in her 80s. She had the best posture, had graceful, beautiful movement, had big movement, and just had a vitality to her. So I've always, even when I was 20 and I wasn't thinking about aging, I was looking towards these sort of elders, and they were beacons of light. And I thought, wow, this is a huge longevity component here. And so, it's really interesting. I think I've known a lot of athletes over the years, and I've seen them go from their sport, then boom, they don't have the sport. They don't have anyone telling them to go to practice. They don't have any reason to not eat that whole pizza, and they do get out of shape. And then they go two ways. They either sort of stay that way and kind of never pick up the baton again, or they're like, oh my God, I need to move my body. I need to do it myself. No one's going to tell me. No one's going to force me. And so that's a really interesting thing too. But I do think that all roads can lead back to that health and fitness and that true sense of wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like you say, it's that feeling of, having to do it for yourself as well. And particularly if you're not in a position to employ someone to come and help you, which many people are not in that position.
Exactly. So that's where I think athletes, they have practice. They're working out even when they're injured, when they don't feel good, when they don't want to. Their team is counting on them. And there's an external motivation that is undeniable. But when you're in the real world and you're an adult and you're not playing that sport anymore, that motivation has to come from within you. And that's what I really want to sort of get through to women, is that you can have that motivation. It's not like it's not given to you. You can conjure it up yourself.
Yeah. And so you talk about women there, but obviously I know with men and women, how many times have I been in a gym and seen a guy training a girl doing exactly the same exercises as he would do, like his girlfriend or partner or whatever it may be, and what have you. But I think it's really important to come across as when you're doing any form of movement, training, whatever it may be, conditioning, that you have to make it quite specific for who you are and what your needs are, particularly as the differences between men and women. How would you say someone would approach that when it comes to, okay, I've decided to take this step. I'm going to take control of my health and fitness. I want to move better. I want to prolong the aging process for as long as I can and have a great life. But, what would you suggest in that case? What's the differences you find when it comes to movement and fitness? What are the differences you find that are important between men and women on this journey?
Great question. Men and women are very different and they have different needs. If you look at, women's bones are different. Our organs are different. Our mineral makeup is different. It's not just our goals, because our goals tend to be different. Women want to have more energy. They want to be thin. Men often want to be strong, and not that women don't, but men are really looking to be strong looking, and they don't want to be thin. They want to, be solid. And men also have, a box jump, for instance, which is when you do like kind of a kangaroo jump up to a box and then back down. Those movements are beautiful for women and men. but women might need to do them at a different pace. They probably need to do less repetitions and maybe not every day. And different stages of life, maybe we can do different things too. So we have to always be feeling ourselves out and noticing what is really working and what's not and adjust accordingly. That intuitive, that mindfulness, it needs to come from within. And you're not, there's a saying in yoga, the pose needs to fit you. You don't need to fit the pose. And that really means you need to adjust to make it just right for you. And I see I think we're over this trend really, but there was a big trend in the early 2000s where women were training like men, the CrossFit trend. It was literally like they were not paying attention to the fact that women were different. And there were so many injuries. There was so many like rotator cuff injuries, ACL tears, hip injuries, back, slip discs in the back. And I watched with horror because we had just had this amazing Pilates yoga trend being like at the front and center of the fitness, genre. And that just was erased right away. And we went to this really robust, aggressive kind of cross-training thing. And we saw a lot, but now I think it's receded and we're back to a little bit more balance and we're back to paying attention to our bodies. Another big myth out there is no pain, no gain. And I totally disagree with that. I've disagreed with it even when I was an athlete because there is a way to very gracefully condition the body. And over time, you can take a lot of intensity. You can run that marathon, but you have to train for the marathon. You can't just wake up one day and run 26 miles. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like deception when it comes to fitness and training. And, it has to always come back to the individual.
Yeah. I mean, I see out there also, you see them on online all the time. And I was actually looking at a social media post today, a guy who's in security, and he was talking about, all these sort of AI videos and adverts from people. And we've got to be really careful of all these people sort of selling what's like a snake oil salesman, as they call it. And it's not always who you think they are. And I think this is really important when it comes to sort of looking for someone who's going to help you move better, is how do they go about finding someone like yourself who's going to understand, as a woman, I need to have train a certain way. And also as well, things like, if you are used to that no pain, no gain, how do you get out of that mindset? I was very much like that. I wanted to feel like I was passing out at the end of every workout if I didn't feel like I had a good workout. But you can't have no desire for that really now.
I do find it's so true. And there are some people that really thrive on that though. So, I mean, that could be something that just it's right for you, right? That sort of mentality. I find Aries, like I love astrology, and I find when I always sort of do a survey of people when I'm working with them, and I find Aries to have that no pain, no gain energy just because they just they just want to win and they just are like voracious. That could work for a certain person, but I feel like for women especially, be intuitive. And that's where taking one gentle yoga class, you start to know your body and all this information will come to you. And you'll be like, wow, I need to stretch more. Wow, my posture is really causing my chronic tension. I'm out of breath. I'm not breathing right. Wow, I feel anxiety during the week and I need to really work on my anxiety. I need to do more yoga or something like that. So the information comes to you when you get mindful. Your body is always telling you what it needs. And we just need to pay attention to it. It tells you what you need when you need to eat. When I always say this, when I go to dinner with somebody and they're like, oh, I probably need this. It has more protein. Oh, I can't eat this because of that. They're in their head and their bodies, they're not letting their body tell them. So I feel like that's 100% what we're trained to be like. And the diet culture has really messed with our brains. And I don't think the fitness culture is at that level, but it can be that level for some people. So we need to get into our bodies, let the bodies dictate what the call of action is.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if we're so disconnected from our bodies, as like I mentioned in the introduction, that disconnection, because we're so used to everything being online, everything's done for us from a technological point of view. And because life is very busy, we forget to sit down and then, like you say, you actually listen to ourselves. And I think maybe we've gone as we get older, we've gone for so long and not paying attention.
Right.
It really takes some focus to really say, okay, I'm going to give myself some time and I'm going to listen to myself. And it's not about sitting there and just waiting for something to come to you. It's paying attention to the little aches and pains, or like you say, is what you feel your body is needing, from whether it's a nutritional perspective or a fitness perspective, or just getting out, being more social, or whatever it may be, getting up and getting moving.
Exactly. And, people also underestimate stretch. The stretch ultimately is the transformer. So opening your body, extending your muscles, gaining that mobility, it feels delightful, and it changes posture alignment. It changes energy flow. It changes breath. So stretching is, it's very underrated, especially with, the strength, the push to have heavy weights right now, which is lovely and fine for certain people. We have to really think about the individual, but really think about stretch. I'm a champion of stretching.
It actually amazes me, because over the years, the amount of people who go to their workout, they're lucky if they spend a few moments stretching anything. It's like a sort of, it's almost like a nod to a stretch. It's a quick here and there. Or they say, well, I'm feeling very tight. I went out for a walk. Said, well, did you stretch afterwards? Well, no, because it doesn't feel like it's exercise. It's still activity.
Right.
If you're struggling and you're feeling tension or soreness, then take time to stretch. And I think there was I don't know whether you ever heard of this. I remember I used to have clients who were like runners, and they were often told by their coaches, you don't stretch because that can, inhibit your performance as an endurance runner, for instance. So if the thing is, as you're getting older, the muscles shorten, everything's getting tighter, the tendons, the ligaments, everything's stiffening up and starting to degenerate. It starts from your 30s onwards, but significantly once you get 40, 50 and beyond at a much higher rate. Stretching, like you say, flexibility, mobility becomes more important than or equal to any sort of muscle quality gains that you get through your weight training. It's got to be combined together. Am I correct in that?
Exactly. Use it or lose it. It's true. And also, I use all these little adages all the time. A body in rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. And so just that catalyst of getting in motion is, incredibly powerful. So, go for a walk today, dance around your kitchen, pop in a workout video, go play a game of tennis, get your body in motion. It's the best, like you mentioned in the intro, it's the biohack of all biohacks. And people love to spend millions of dollars on infrared and all these lasers and things like that, which are lovely and amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny. It's, there's something before that, So yeah, move your body. And again, people also can get psyched out with all the different options. It's like when you go to the grocery store and there's a whole aisle of cereal and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to buy cereal anymore. That could be the case with fitness today. So to those people who get really psyched out by all the choices, just start walking. I mean, walking is, it's a gateway into other things. And then kiss a lot of frogs. Maybe take some classes at your local studio. Maybe research things online. It's just like if you were if you were getting a wedding dress, you would try on 100 wedding dresses, right? Fitness is kind of the same way. You want to find just right for you right now, and keep your eyes open and keep looking and investigate. And, we should be ambitious about this because it will be game changing to your career, to your family, to your health, to your, your years on this earth. There's proven that people who work out make more money. People who work out are sick less and take less sick days. People who work out have more sex appeal. So there is such an upside to moving, really.
Yeah. And I think sometimes as well, like I said earlier, is everything seems to be quite instant. They want everything quite instant. And I do wonder if part of this, they want a quick fix. So they don't want to go out and try different things. It's too long because they've allowed themselves to get very often into such a state of decline or poor health. They now think, now I have to do something is another thing. And they want to find the right thing immediately. But it doesn't work. It's got to be a process of, like you say, dipping your toe in, trying something. Oh, that's not for me. That doesn't work. And also as well, it is confusing with all these sort of gurus, so-called gurus on the internet and what have you, all promising these great things, and you can get in shape in 7 minutes of exercise a day, or I'll join my program and you'll be lean, mean, and a sexy machine in the next 2 weeks. And people fall for that. But it's a way of getting into these habits, building these routines and behaviors around your own health, and prioritizing yourself because you want to be better, not just now, but for the long term.
1,000%. And, we do have this attention deficit culture that moves on from things really quickly. And it's very challenging to build those habits today, for sure. But, that's where you just have to dig deep. And, the instant gratification, I've seen this my whole career. It's been over 30 years. I've been in the gym, working with people, watching people. And that instant gratification is worse than ever. People have, they want it now. But just like with losing weight, you don't want to lose more than a pound a week, or maybe 2 pounds a week if you're a bigger person to start. You don't want to lose 10 pounds in 1 week. That would be bad. That would mean you are really atrophying your muscles and you're really weakening even the connective tissues within your organs and stuff. Like it's very undesirable, but people think it's desirable. And, I would do these 10 days challenges and we call them jumpstart. So maybe you can do 10 days in a row pretty aggressively, but I called it a jump start. We are a catalyst for change. So the instant thing, and our culture really, it's not going to go away. So we have to really learn how to, stay with something for a while. Little by little, little becomes a lot. It's one of my favorite sayings. And so 20 minutes a day is great if you're doing it for 5 years, 20 minutes a day. That is great. That is really going to be good. And if you are so used to moving every day, and say you had a very busy day and all you could do was 10 minutes, you're going to be just fine, because it's not about that one day. It's about the fact that you did something, you got your body moving, you got energy and flow, but you've been at it, chipping away day after day.
Yeah. And what's interesting, I do want to talk a little bit about as well, is when you get yourselves into these states of poor health. And when I spoke earlier, we're going to talk about sort of movement and mental health, because mental health is important at the moment as well as movement, particularly if we're getting older. And it does have, when you're not feeling well, when you're getting to a point where you're struggling to sort of walk, you're struggling to keep your independence, which tends to happen much later than your 40s and your 50s, but it can be, you can get precursors to it. This is where the listening to your body and understanding what you're feeling, so you don't get to that stage. But if that's happening, the effect it has on you psychologically as well, your identity and your independence. So I'm interested to talk to you a little bit about your views and your experience on the effects of mental health in its combination to your ability to move well.
Great question. For sure, there's a link there. Movement has been proven to help people feel good about themselves. That is really important. It has endorphins. There's a biological thing with endorphins and a dopamine hit, all this stuff. So there is a biological little boost that happens. But if you ever really notice, people that really struggle with mental health, people that suffer with depression, they don't feel good physically a lot of the time. Think of, I work at a place where there are sort of troubled teens, and we see them come in and they start eating a little cleaner, and there's no sugar there, and there's no alcohol there, and there's no smoking, and and you start to see they feel better. They start to move. They start to, partake in the classes and the exercise classes and stuff. And you really see the turnaround really quick. Kids are so fast at transforming because they haven't stayed in one state for too long. So they're the best at transforming. So when you start eating better, it's a chicken or the egg too, because you can start eating better, you'll start moving. If you start moving, you'll start eating better. You'll start drinking water instead of soda. There's little tiny things, and it's literally, it's little things, they add up. Just someone switching out their soda for water could be such a game changer. Someone, taking a lunch break and going for a walk instead of, scrolling on their phone, doom scrolling on their phone the whole time, or going out for fast food. Those little things, they really add up. And it's the same thing with mental health. Mental health, we also know there's a nutrition aspect to it. Getting your vitamins up, getting your minerals up, that's going to change your brain. It's going to change what's going on in your brain and in your body and the function of your body. So it's so all connected. And, that's where it's like the world would be such a better place if everyone moved properly. And, I think about our ancestors many generations ago, movement was so built in. They had to walk a lot of places. They had to do more physical things around their house. And, there was less depression. There was less of this, woe is me. There was, I feel like self-esteem is so tied into depression and mental health as well. And movement helps with that. So yeah, I'm always on my soapbox, touting how great movement is. Just exercise, move your body. It's the best self-help tool. And it's self-administered. You don't need a prescription. You don't need anyone to tell you to do it or not. And you don't have to sign up for it. You can just move your body.
It's a choice at the end of the day, do clear as day, you want to live your best life and it's never too late to start, start a little bit.
Exactly.
But for you, when people come to you, what sort of things are they coming to you for? It makes sense. They're coming to me because I want to get fitter and healthier and move more. Okay. But overall, when people come to you, what is it they're seeking in a sense in terms of, what are they struggling with? What have you noticed tends to be, I know we can generalize here. There's lots of different reasons for people wanting to take up movement and exercise and fitness. But what for you, people at this age, men or women, I guess, what is it they're really seeking? Is it purely a physical thing or is it the psychological and emotional as well?
Great question. And things have changed a little bit, but they've stayed the same as well. So when I started teaching aerobics in 1989, everyone was weight loss. It was weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. And I feel like it was beauty too. Like it was about the beautiful people were doing aerobics or something like that. That is still the case because I do think that there is this sort of vanity, right? There's a vanity. I want to look good. So I think that's still the case and that's absolutely fine. And I love it. And I'm in that boat too. I want to look good. But I would say about 15 years ago, I started really realizing this word anxiety and this, like you mentioned mental health, but people were having panic attacks and anxiety and people were really struggling with being social. They were kind of hermits in their house sometimes. And I started witnessing this and I never really witnessed it before. And it's really a new phenomenon at this scale. I know people have probably experienced it, but it became more mainstream probably around 15 years ago. And people were really seeking this embodiment, this grounding. It was about their nervous systems, regulating. And I think that's really the case for women today. Women today are frazzled and the nervous system is out of whack. And so mindful movement, it can be a cardio workout, but it can also regulate your nervous system. Yoga has been one of the best all-time nervous system regulators if it's done the right way with mindful breath and not too hurried and rushed. So I felt that is the big carrot today is this anxiety thing. Yeah. And then now, I have a lot of subscribers and members to my site that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and they want bone health. They want their bones strong. They want to have mobility. They want to recover from, hip replacement or something like that. So there's this function. People want to function highly until the day they die. They want to be able to do their own stuff, right? So that's super exciting because all of that can be yours with movement.
It's being able to do the everyday things.
Exactly. So, but I have really witnessed this mental health, this stress management, this nervous system regulation, that is really center stage in movement. And, when people do get their nervous systems regulated, they end up finding the right weight. So a lot of times weight issues are nervous system issues. Sometimes they're overeating. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when your nervous system is out of whack, it's kind of your nervous system, the central nervous system and everything else. It gives the messages to the rest of the body to respond to whatever's happening in its internal, external environment. So if it's deregulated, then everything else, every organ, every hormone release, every muscle movement is going to be affected by that. So being able to regulate it, calm it down, it's going to settle everything down to inflammation and pain and everything.
Exactly. I think when people are overeating, a lot of times that's to ground down. That's their technique to regulate their nervous system. When people drink too much, they're trying to regulate their nervous system. When people, can't get out of bed in the morning, it's because a lot of times it's their nervous system. So a lot of these habits that aren't the greatest, that seem like self-sabotage, are your body's way of trying to bring it back into regulated nervous system. And I just know the more grounded I get, and it's a practice. Today, people are busy, people are running around, but the more grounded I get, the better and more mindfully I eat. And I just keep it balanced with food. So it all sort of bleeds into all the other elements to wellness and fitness. And, movement, again, it shouldn't be like, to me, this is another thing I love because I came from a competitive world. I love that movement is this kumbaya and there's no winner or loser. Everyone's winning. And that is good for my nervous system. It's very good for my mind, for me personally, just to not feel that there's a competitive energy anywhere. It's us helping each other, moving together, motivating each other. It's just, there's no loser, right? So I love that about fitness. And, some people don't see it like that. If they go to a spin class, in New York City, it can feel very competitive. It can feel like someone's gunning for you, and that could irritate your nervous system.
Well, that's it, as well as addressing the environment you're in and how you use that, like you were saying earlier about, drinking too much, eating the wrong foods and not. So it comes almost full circle back to the mental health issue. It's your relationship with yourself and your body. And the things you're using to help calm the nervous system are actually sabotaging your nervous system. So being able to turn it on its head and start moving more is going to have a much more beneficial long-term effect, positively long-term effect.
Exactly. And, when people have insomnia, I always, when I ask people, like, they don't sleep well at night, I'm like, do you exercise enough? Because that, again, it might not be the cure-all, but it might help you. It might help you find that really good sleep. Sometimes that's the thing. Like, movement can be it's like a pill. It could be a medicine for all these little ailments. I know it's really good for skin when you sweat and you get rid of those toxins. It's great for your skin. So people will spend so much money on a facial or some potion. Just exercising just brings blood flow to your skin and is so beautifying and healthy. Like all these things, like this is why, on my deathbed, I'll be like, movement is medicine, right to the end, because it really is.
Exactly. Let's get into how your strategies now. Let's say if you've got someone coming to you, how do you manage to motivate them, keep them excited about exercise and moving? What is it, that sort of magic potion that you have to really help people?
Well, there's a lot of variety that I incorporate. I throw it all in, even the kitchen sink, they say in the United States. There's a lot of variety. So, I literally love to take the best of everything. There's so many great things from Pilates. There's great things from yoga. There's great things from bar. There's great things with basic calisthenics. Jack LaLanne, back in the day, did amazing things, amazing exercises. So I throw it all in. Sometimes we hike, we walk, I throw it all in, but dance is amazing. Breath work is amazing. I'm very inspired by Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. I'm inspired by Ayurvedics, which is the traditional Indian medicine. All of these things, they get layered in. And I touched on the astrology thing, but whenever I've worked with people one-on-one, I've always had this in-depth astrology conversation with people because it's fun. It's fun, first of all. It's just interesting and fun. And you can take it with a grain of salt, but I start to put the pieces together with people and formulate that. So I think that's the key, variety. And on my site, it's variety. I mean, we have walking workouts, we have dance workouts, we have strength training workouts. We have, like the seated sculpt, it was a runaway success, which was kind of shocking to me. I thought it would be more niche, but it's variety, and, I have a lot of bar classes, like bar done mindfully, where it's not too excessive with the amount of reps and the pacing, it can feel so good, and it really tones the body efficiently. So I think variety is a really big key. Keep mixing it up. But ultimately, I want people to be independent exercisers. I want them to move on their own and not need a personal training session, have options, always have options. Like there's snowstorms here in the Northeast of America right now, but there's indoor workout options. There's online workouts, but there's, I have a yoga mat. I can stretch on my mat. I have bands. I have ankle weights, wrist weights. So there's ways to move your body that, people, again, you're helping yourself, you're healing yourself when you move your body. It's not a vain, it doesn't have to be vain. It could have great aesthetic benefits, but I think that's the most important thing. I think variety is really one of the secrets to my success. And it's why I've kept so inspired and excited, because I'm not bored. And that, I think, makes a big difference.
I think that's the key thing. It's very easy to get bored if you're doing the same thing. I mean, it's like any training. You got to have progress, you got to have variety, and you've got to change it up. But I think what's wonderful what you're doing, like you say, you take this inspiration from so many different areas of health and wellness. Exactly. And I think that's important for people to take that on board. It doesn't have to be going to the gym and that's it, or doing your spin class and that's it. You can actually have so many different things you can add in to your health and wellness life, if you like, this journey that you're going on. So you can maybe go to the gym once or twice a week, but what's wrong with throwing in a dance class or a yoga class, or just going for a walk or a bike ride or whatever it may be, taking the dog for a walk, whatever it is. If it makes you happy, makes you feel good about yourself, then that's the main thing.
1,000%.
Yeah. So I would like to see more people doing that. So is exercise the ultimate biohack, or is there another one that we're not talking about?
I think it's the ultimate original biohack, right? Because it's the ground zero of biohacks. I really believe that. And people are skipping the ground floor and going to these fancy things. And I'm like, no, don't forget the ground floor. Don't forget the foundational one. It really is. And again, our ancestors didn't call it exercise. They called it life. They were moving their body just all day, every day in different ways. They were cross training. Carrying water is really challenging thing. Chopping wood, that whole adage, chop wood, carry water. That's what they did. And I would say that was their modality. For us today in modern life, we have to seek it out a little bit more. And we have modalities called, yoga fusion and spitting, but it's the same thing. It has to be chop wood, carry water. I know that sounds a little strange, but
it's very simple, really. It is very simple. People think it's complicated. It is not. It's so simple to be healthy and fit. At least when you're starting out, it really doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah. And remember, it goes back to how you feel. Yeah. And, people feel a lot of guilt for things. And I'm not into that at all. Like, maybe you haven't moved in 5 years. Okay, whatever. That's the way it is. No guilt. Now you can start moving. It's really about how you feel. So tap into how you feel. And if you feel good, you're winning. You are winning at life. You're winning at fitness. Tap into how you feel. And, all the other stuff will come. All the other stuff you want will come. Our sort of tagline is feel good is number 1, look great is number 2, and shine bright is number 3. So it all starts from feeling good. And, you have the power to do that.
Yeah. And like you say, once you're moving better, then you can take it up to the next level and improve your performance, physical, mental, emotional performance more and more, just by making it more challenging, trying new things. Once you feel confident in yourself that actually I don't have to worry about this hurting, it's all okay. Because I think sometimes psychologically we kind of, that fear holds us back. It's going to hurt more, or is it going to make the problem worse? It's like, no, you do this as the first level, and then you take it one step at a time, build it into your life, make it part of your life, make it your routine every day, even if it's 10-15 minutes a day. Build that in, and it gets easier, and you can progress, and then you can get to the next level and then do more if you like, and you'll be able to take part in sport if that's what you want to do. Or if you think, right, I'm 70, I want to run a marathon, you can do that. We've seen people like that doing that. So it's the start of building in that performance and living your life like an athlete for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And it's not about anyone else, it's about you. And so it's about you taking care of you, and little by little becomes a lot, so that's my big takeaway is just, you'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah. just be patient with yourself and just be,
Totally.
think at least I'm doing it. You're getting out there and you're making that start, which is fantastic. So Ellen, I want
Yeah.
to sort of, if people want to find out more about you and your movement studio, want to get involved with that, where is the best place that they can find you?
They can find me at ellenbarrett.com. It's my name.com. And I have a program called Let's Move. It's an online streaming movement studio. And it is open 24/7, which is beautiful. And people from all over the world are members. We have people in Australia, New Zealand, and, South America, everywhere. So that's really where you can find me. You can also find me on Instagram at Ellen Barrett Fit, FIT. Just Ellen Barrett Fit. And yeah, I would love to hear from everybody, and I'm there for you. I really believe that I've lasted this long because I truly care. I haven't been a snake oil salesman. I haven't tried to, I've kept it so minimal. And so it's incredibly user friendly. You don't need any equipment. You can use handheld weights are pretty much all we use on the site, but you could use water bottles and you can also do those workouts without holding any weights and they'll still be effective. So that's my shtick.
It's a good one. And it's simple and easy, and it creates a great community as well, because community and social aspects of these things are really important, even if it's, online. I think it's having people in that community that are doing the same thing. It makes you feel very supported and that you're not alone.
1,000%. 1,000%. And I think people today, especially women, we're not going to make the gym all the time. Having it at your fingertips is really important. Sometimes people log in at 9:00 at night. I see people logging in at midnight. People are all over the board today. When I started teaching aerobics at 18, there was a 9:30 in the morning class for the mommies. And then there was a 5:30 evening class for the working people. It covered all the bases. Those were the 2 times people were working out. Now people are working from home. People are, telecommuting. People are all over the board. And moms at home, young moms at home, sometimes the only time they can, while their kid is sleeping, they can go in the other room and they can pop in a workout and get something done in 20 minutes. So that is another thing to increase your odds of succeeding, is know that you need options and it needs to work for you. It needs to be user-friendly for you. It needs to fit into your life. It can't add too much strain to your life. Getting across town in rush hour traffic to get to a class could derail you. So just know you need to have options. You need to keep it so your life stays sane.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's keeping you on track with everything, because it's very easy to let one thing send you off track. It's important that you do make it life easy for yourself, particularly if you've got a lot of commitments. So this is one easy way. So Ellen, is there anything else that is on the horizon for you? Anything new, anything exciting that's going to be coming up that people need to be aware of?
Well, I have lots of new workouts coming on ellenbarrett.com, which I'm really excited about. I'm working on going back to the retreat world a little bit in 2027.
Okay.
So that's kind of exciting. I have no big announcements yet, but that's on the horizon as well. And I'm just going to keep plugging away because I really am sort of living my purpose. And I've been living my purpose in my whole career for over 30 years. And just, being that motivator and getting people to move their body and like themselves, that's like the best thing ever. So,
well, you look great, so it's working. Look, I really want to thank you.
And I love the challenge of aging. I also tell this to all my clients, I love the challenge of aging. I really feel like it's the Super Bowl for me. It's like, all right, it's game time. Now let's see what I'm made of. Let's see if I can stay on track. And I do think my secret with aging is you do have to start getting cleaner. You have to get a little bit more disciplined. You can't go off path too far anymore. You really pay the price. But at the same time, the rewards are so much bigger now. And what's at stake is more important. So, aging it's a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge, right? And that's my mindset with aging, is that I don't feel less than, I don't feel defeated. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to rise up and I'm going to meet it where I am, and it's going to meet me where I am, and I'm going to keep going as long as I can.
Yeah, I love that mindset. I think that's a great way to look at it. Look at it as just another challenge, and how are you going to come up and meet it and win?
Yeah. And all these amazing, I have so many amazing role models that I've seen over the years, all these amazing athletes that have just had such longevity. And like I mentioned, that Qigong teacher that I laid eyes on so long ago, she is very much in my mind. There's just, I opened my eyes to see all these vibrantly beautiful, healthy, older women, and they're beacons for me. And I'm looking towards them. So, so bring it. Bring it,
Bring
universe.
it on. Bring it on. Go on there. Go and join Let's Move.
Yes, and let's move. Exactly.
Look, Ellen, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to me today and share all your information, all your tips, all your strategies and your knowledge with the audience. So really thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Julia. I loved it.
Pleasure. And there you have it. So I hope you're all going to take notice, get out, move more, get fitter, start small, but you can have an amazing life and do great things if you just get out there, move yourself and get healthier. So for now, I'd like to say thank you to Ellen once again, and thank you to all of you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Unleash Your Inner Athlete.